Good morning, everyone. So for this video, we will talk about the new, I guess, beta, since it will be changed potentially in February, Warriors book and Orcs. Now, I have seen the Warriors update. Obviously, there was a spoiler video, but I had it semi-spoiled before that a couple days ago. So I know it's in this one. So I'll have formulated opinions, especially after talking to some other Warriors players, since we have a secret Warriors chat that we have. And the orc one, I actually have no idea what's changed. So that will be like a blind react. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's see what we got. Now, obviously, the context, I haven't played in 4 months since ETC. And I haven't played since my last game of ETC. Still, I mean, I could still go to tournaments and probably win them if I wanted to. It hasn't been that long, and how hard can it be, right? People still one of the better ones even without playing. So my opinions, I think, are still pretty good. Though I will say, obviously, for the all the changes that go through, there's been a lot of changes. I think I did a Magic, but I did do a Magic video. That's right. Who knows what the meta is going to come up with? So I think a lot of the ideas you can have initially are still baked a little bit in, like what the current meta is, what we're currently seeing. And I mean, we already seen some books, and this stupid slow release was dumb, but whatever. But we don't know like what's going to happen with all the armies. With the whole, we got steam tanks changing, we got cannons changing, we have lots of little things here and there changing, and who knows what the meta is going to be like at the end of it, and then that'll also have an effect on what we think is good. For example, elders didn't change, and I'm probably a little bit down on elders, even though powerful single models are still super strong and whatnot. But if somehow shooting becomes a range becomes less popular, then maybe they come back out even without any changes, right? Stuff like that. So let's just get in. So a lot of this was streamlining, and I do kind of appreciate it. They really took a lot of the wordiness out of a lot of the marks, and so we'll start with Envy. So Envy has just changed from Swift Stride with an attack attribute of reroll ones to also rerolling ones when charging to just maximized roll. So this is good because it actually affects Cav more. Before, the old one, the Cav didn't benefit, because it gave Swift Stride, which was good for infantry, but didn't help Cav other than the reroll ones. I think from a points perspective, it's actually kind of remained the same points on Cav, if not more expensive. And that's fine. Actually, what's kind of interesting here is it affects, so two things. One, maximize versus reroll ones. Maximize is better at making long charges. I did the math. I don't have the chart in front of me. I think from anything less than 5 inches, it's better to reroll ones only slightly. But those are all like 98% charges, so it's not like it's 1% on a 98%, whatever. But I'm pretty sure it's a good bit. It's like 30% to make like an 11-inch charge or something like that. Some crazy, like decently high number. I think a 10-inch charge is like 52% with double maximize. So it's a lot farther and a lot better chance of the long charge with an extra source of maximize for like knights. But you also get it on the pursuits and the overruns, which is actually a big deal because I think one of the biggest roles in the game that no one talks about is pursuit roles. Because a lot of times it can be the difference between scoring a lot of points and the enemy gets a chance to rally. And if you had flanked something to break it, and now they get to rally and face you, and you can't break it from the front, then it sucks, right? So having better pursuit distance is very beneficial. As well as, like, if you ever want to go for a long overrun, if a 10-inch overrun is a 50% chance, that's pretty freaking good, right? So yeah, you lose the ones to reroll the hit, but I think you gain some nice abilities. I don't know. It's also more than half their model, so you can have mages in units and still get the benefit. I think. I mean, I'm trying to read units with all of them. Yeah, so now you can have mages, a barbed chief, and a warrior block, something like that, where you don't need all of it. You could have 2 envy lords join with chariots with a mage on a chariot, and you would get it still. There might be something weird with like Swift Stride, the interaction between Swift Stride and maximized. Like you'd still be the slowest. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too hard, but it's pretty cool. Okay. Gluttony. So they basically said if you win combat once, you get +1 strength until the end of the game. And they also made it not close combat, so you get it on your model part, which means that it works for spiked shield. So this one got the most better, the most better. This one got a lot better for like warriors with spiked shields because not only do you not have to restrain pursuing, which is kind of annoying, right? Like um, charges a fleeing or does not pursue or that's so dumb. Yeah. So now if chaff charges you or if somebody chaffs you, you just get it by beating them. You don't have to pursue them. You don't have to not pursue, which can be really annoying to do. So now you just get it. Even if you tie combat, you get it since tying counts as winning, as we know from the Herald healing. And so not only that, so it's easier to get the +1 strength, but now it works on your spike shields. Um, and so now you're hitting back. Now it's only AP1, but that's really good, right? So yeah, Gluttony got a lot better. Greed's the same. Lust lost Strider. While I do think Strider was one of the nicer things, I think if it keeps the cost down, I think it reduced a point on Warriors or something. That's fine. There's Strider banners, there's Wasteland Torch, stuff like that. I'm not upset by that change. The mark really did give too much, and that's why one reason it was so good. Pride's the same. Sloth. So you're -1 to mood except when you charge or march. On the start of the melee phase of the next play. That kind of sucks. I think this mark, like, I like that it's not as wordy, but it feels it's kind of shitty, right? Like if you put it on warriors, you have to be moving like inches unless you're teleporting to kind of get up the field. Like if you fail a charge, you know you're gonna get shut up if somebody flees. You lose it. Like you don't even get the +1 resilience a lot of the time. I don't think it's that good. Wrath. People will complain about they need the +1 agility for elves, and it was very good to have the +1 agility. I'm not gonna lie, but I kind of like it. Just get lightning reflexes. It works with great weapons. You don't have to worry about the +1 to hit and the negative effect to it. While fluffy, I'm not upset with any of these. I'm actually pretty happy. I think the sloth is probably the worst one of the changes. I never used it before. Maybe it's okay. I don't have a great thought on it because I don't use it. Gluttony seems to get better. Envy becomes interesting. The Strider loss is fine. I mean, it sucks. I mean, it was a great mark before. People were still using it, but I could see why. I think it makes I think the big winner is Gluttony as far as the changes go. So yeah, happy there. Any of these rules change? It doesn't look like it. Hereditary is the same. All right, so we got Porin. It's the same. One thing about Porin is that with the Dragonbane gem going down to a 3+ save, I think Porin becomes. It was always good. I mean, it wasn't like the end all be all, but now like that's still scary. Like if you have a 3-up board save versus fire, like because basalt people were still scared because you could just roll a 1 or 2 and then boom D3 wounds you're dead and it doesn't matter that you had it, right? So I think that actually inherently helps Porin. Zealot's banner. I had heard this is going to change, so like it's only supposed to work in the second rank, and as it is, it works in the third rank. So you could have like 24 warriors, 8 wide, and you get like 48 9 attacks with a champion, which was really sweet, especially if you're like Gluttony with like shields and he becomes rank 5. I heard that's going to change. Sad. Every time people get excited about something, they're like, "Oh, we didn't mean to do that." Icon in the I mean, it's kind of wordy, but it kind of just gets because it works on chosen with paired weapons, and it works on greed, chosen knights. I don't know. It really didn't need to be. It didn't really matter, but it's fine. Icon of the infinite can be taken. So they removed the core requirement. That might make it seen more because you want to spend your 900 points efficiently, and having a bound spell in core isn't so bad for like those magicless armies, or not magicless armies, the low magic armies, the ones that take like shrines and stuff like that, or giants. I still don't know. I think the question is always going to be like, is Hellfire small version worth 2 dice? That's really the question. Like, if you get it off on 2 dice, is 2d3 strength 6 worth? Sure, on a Gortok it is. I don't know about generally speaking. It's cool. I don't like that the Wasteland Torch is core can't be core. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it was too good on core. It was a very power. It's a very powerful banner. Like I think people started to see the power of it. I know I didn't bring it, but I thought about it. I know somebody else brought it. I know the Italian list brought it, and with good reason, especially if you take alchemy, having flaming good, just being Strider runes on an infantry unit if you're not lust. I actually do think you would see a lot more play. Um, to be fair, if it was core only, but I think you'll still see play. I think people will take it on chosen nights and whatnot. A little sad about it, but it's fine. Ledger of Souls went down to 50 points and it's not dominant anymore. So now I think this is a good change. It was 65. It was dominant. It was kind of annoying because you couldn't. I mean, the fact that like Veilgate Orb is a separate item is still annoying. It's still one of the weirdest things to me. It used to be together. But now at least you can take them. You can take this with Heirloom is probably the big change for me because you want to take it on a Veil Walker guy and then you want to have the Veil Walker get cheaper. Not this time, but it got cheaper last time, right? It's like 80 points now. Where is it? It's 90 points now. All right, I went down 10 points. Now I feel like a Veil Walker mage. You put Heirloom, you put Ledger of Souls, maybe you put Veilgate Orb on somebody else. And now it feels like more powerful in that case. It went down points. You get to have the H spell, which is very good with Veil Walker, and also if you are doing like the occultism version, it got a lot stronger as well because the way the Grave Calls works, and I think I talked about this with the Grave Calls change, why it was good for Herald and whatnot, is now when you're facing like another Greater Demon, or for example, they're both at 18 inches base before any Veil Walker comes in play, so you don't like give away what you're doing with your tokens. I don't know. It's just a good change. I mean, it's a lot of Veil tokens. Like for 90 points, like or 50 points, which is the same as Talisman of Void. So Talisman of Void is a guarantee 6 Veil tokens if you live the whole game, and this one is potentially up to 18, depending on. Yeah, depending. Well, you can hold up to 6, so it actually could be. Oh yeah, 18. I did the math right. No, it could be 36 because you can always have 6. Yeah, you can always. Yeah, it's a lot of tokens. Like one turn of things dying around you is almost better than Talisman of Void. Like you should never take Talisman of Void. I think if you could take this, I think you might see more mages on taken. All right, so that's not too bad. Exalted Herald. Okay, so the Herald's the big one of the big changes here, and so they dropped his movement by 1 for both, and they gave him channel 1 on Veil Walker, and they dropped a spell, but they dropped him 80 points. So I think people are crying that this is like a nerf, and I think it's like borderline neutral nerf buff. It's like it's probably neutral-ish because all right, the spell. People are gonna make what things are worth. Is a spell worth 50? Is +1 move worth 50 points because of the speed banner? That's like your best correlation for it. I don't think that is entirely fair. Personally, I don't think that's super fair. I don't think it's exactly worth 50 points. Like, is it on a Herald? Is going from 7 to 8 worth 50 points? I don't know if it's worth that many. Is one spell worth 50 points? Indication is yes. If you look at Heirloom, we'll say it's about worth 50 points. And so you probably I think it's about even fairness on the stats versus the points, like spell and move versus 80 points. You get channel and sorcerer immortal. I think that was more to make up for the 2 spells because you take Veil Walker, people I don't know why people are I don't know, people in the forums are dumb usually about some of their opinions. To me, that was kind of added on to say, hey, listen, we took a spell from you, and it really does affect the Sorcerer Immortal because if you're taking Veil Walker, you want more spells because you can already take more access to spells. You have a choice of 4 plus whatever your other mark is, and the Veil Walker ability needs spells to work. We're gonna give you channel 1 to kind of make up for it. I think it's fair. I also love Veil Walker. Like besides getting access to the spells, which were really good. It felt kind of underwhelming to only get like Veilwalker. Like I think this is, I think this was fine. I think it's a great change. 80 points is 80 points. I mean, I've talked about how I didn't like Herald and Adept, or Herald and Master, because I thought it was too much magic. Because 7 spells is a lot, especially if you load up your mage with anything. And now you put the Herald, who all the fightiness. Yes, he lost a move, but he still heals. He's still fighty. He's still annoying. He lost a spell, which is, basically you say, all right, well, I'm gonna have a Wizard Master, and I don't need the spell. I'm gonna save 80 points. And besides, like, I mean, listen, the flying, stomping version with Pentagram, Breath, and Hailfire was really strong. You're probably gonna take Pentagram and Breath, and then have Hellfire like on your mage or something. Um, Again, for 80 points, I think it opens up double Herald, more so, um, which is good. I mean, you could technically say double Herald. There's people out there using it. It wasn't really used by like the top end people that much. I know there's some people like Italian used it a bit, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't like a bad before. I think it's better, a little maybe better now because you save 160 points. I don't know if you can get away with just 2 heralds worth of magic. Like just 4 spells, you might need to put something for more points in the middle, like either a shrine. You can fit a master mage. You can fit an adept on chariot now, which you couldn't before. You can only fit like an adept on foot before. Actually, if you look at my ETC list, the 80 points you drop from herald can turn the chosen lord into another herald, and you can keep the mage on the chariot, which is pretty cool. I'd say I'd go alchemy in that case. So you have 2 heralds and a fighting mage on chariot as your heroes. It's pretty good, I think. But yeah, I think you'll see him more. I like it. I don't hate it. I could see people arguing for maybe a slightly more point drop because of it, but I don't think it's going to change the world. I think it opening up more ideas and heroes. For example, you can now do Ancestor, Herald, and Wizard Master much easier than you could before. In fact, I don't know if you could do it before. I don't think it was possible. If you took like shitty weapons, if you didn't take like any weapon upgrades. Chosen Lord, the points, like the 300 points, it went up 5, but that's because Lust became free. Lust went to like, they just shifted it so like the base cost is the same. Some of these did change. It's hard to tell exactly. Um, Actually, what's really cool is Demonic Wing is going down 50. So the Rocket Man, I'm gonna just call it Rocket Man. Wing King is a cool name, but people have been calling it Rocket Man for too long. The Rocket Man version where you take, fly and then spike shield with rerollable 1-up save, and then either gluttony or pride, and you just like, and you have like 7 attacks with like symbol slaughter, and you just blend elves because they hit you, and then you make your 1-up save rerollable, and then you spike shield them back. Went down 20 points. So a build that we were already excited about in the update before now has gone down points, and so it's still probably pretty cool. Skywheel went down a bunch of points. I think you can make a pretty cheap Skywheel like greed guy. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's an option. So prelate. I don't think this actually changed. I don't know why this label is changing. Sorcerer. So you can only be a Wizard Master on the dragons. They remove the general restriction, which is probably smart because I feel like if you remove the general restriction, people would just take like a sorcerer, adept, or apprentice on a dragon for like 505 points and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. Wow, it's that cheap. Yeah, 505 points and just be a dragon. So I like this change. I wish they did it to the Chosen Lord, to be honest with you. I don't like that he has to be the general, but like if he didn't have to be a general, I think actually people would take Wasteland Dragon more. Speaking of dragons, I think so he was what, 8 move, and they changed it. Let's see what they did. Ancestor. Gets to the same thing, I believe. Where's the dragon? So the dragon was what, 7? It was like 8 ground, 6 fly, or 7 fly. All I know, it moves marching on the ground really fast, which is actually pretty sweet. 18-inch march on the ground, or 18-inch march. It says ground, so yeah, you can't fly over things. It's pretty good. to really get up in somebody's face and then flying. I like this. I don't know if people are going to be taking wizards. At least your general, at least your wizard master on a dragon doesn't have to be your general, so you can get your leadership 9, whether it's from like a Doom bus or a chosen lord that flies, or just herald, something else. Just like he doesn't have to be your general, and not only for the 200 points, but just for the the 18-inch leadership range, especially when it comes to like dogs. Core some points changes. I don't remember. I have to go to the back and see what the actual marks were before and what they are now. Like I don't remember what they were before. There are some points changes. Chosen went down. Um, a good bit of points. I think a greed chosen unit went down a good bit of points. We're going to look at the end. So some marks change. I'm not going to talk about every mark change that happened. Wretched ones went up a bit. These got tall, which actually is fine. Now you can hide a herald behind them with what's it called, with the tall, that you couldn't before. So I think that's fine. Helmall is the big one we got to talk about. Let me just see if there's anything interesting in the change log I want to talk about. Sloth went down in points. So Sloth going down. Okay, they did actually indicate that it looks like they know that it's not as good as before because they made it cheaper. The Knights, obviously, the Strider was a big deal. If you take into account 10 Knights, you can buy the Strider banner. Pride went down on Knights. Really? Oh. Envy went up. Gluttony went up. Gluttony went up here on Warriors. It is better. Greed going down was interesting. 1 point on Chosen. Wrath going down 2 points. Yeah. Okay. Chosen Knights. Yep. Envy went down. Lord. Gluttony went up. Yeah, I don't have too much. Yeah, there's some cool things with the marks. Nothing like super stands out to me of like, oh my god, this mark went down, so it's so much better. But chosen with chosen, let's say 10 chosen, right? 10 greed chosen, because greed chosen are actually pretty good. Oh, so envy went down a lot because it's not as good on infantry anymore. Because you lose, because you're basically swift drive without being swift, which is whatever. And you lose the reroll ones and you lose the reroll ones. So yeah, it should go down a lot on infantry, which it did. Oh, it didn't go down on warriors, which is weird. Maybe it was too cheap on warriors, they thought. That's weird it didn't go down. So envy chosen are cheaper, but you're probably going like greed or something, or gluttony, or I don't know. Greed, 10 points for the mark, 5 additional 25, 15. I mean, it's like 50 points less for a unit of full chosen with greed. They might be see some play. All right, but what we really want to talk about is, other than the herald, the big change was the Helmall. And so let's go look at the Helmall and let's talk about what changed there. All right. All right. So went up 300 points, or went up 300 points. I lost the ability to, you don't have to buy gateways anymore, so it's just 300 flat, 0 to 2. It gained 1-inch move, 2-inch march, 1 extra HP, 1 extra resilience. So it's a little faster and it's much tougher to kill, which is good because it was kind of weird how easy it was to kill for how big it was. It's still a construct, which kind of sucks. Can't stomp. And also takes stupid DTs from like walls and stuff. So the gateway special rule is obviously the big one. So we all kind of know what it was before, and I'll zoom in on the rule here since just because. So at the start of step 7 of the pregame sequence, so you get to put one down outside of the opponent's deployment zone. I believe you get to do it with each Helmall. If you have 2, it doesn't say it's only 1. It's a universal gateway. Okay. And then at the start of each friendly movement phase, so that's a key thing we're going to talk about. If it's this, the model is not engaged, you may apply one of the following effects. Mark a single point on the battlefield within 20 inches of the model The gateway, it says it doesn't need to be within a site. That's interesting and good. Doing so, you may remove any friendly gateway from the bag before doing so. Okay, so you can pick one up and put one down. There could be more than 4, which is fine. And then, so you can either put one down and pick one up, or you can target a single unengaged friendly unit within 6 inches of the model that does not contain any gigantics and is neither fleeing nor shaken. Remove the unit from the battlefield and immediately place it back on the battlefield with a special ambush rule. If the unit cannot be placed with these rules, it's destroyed. Okay. So, where to start with this? So it doesn't work with lust because it's before. So beginning of movement phrase. That means you can't move into range of the Helmall. The Helmall can't move into range of you. Interestingly, it says, okay, so it's after charges, which is semi-important. So you can charge somebody off the portal. Okay, so the new, before it was, special ambush, you pick a point on the board, which in this case is the gateway marker. The unit has to touch it. It can't be within 6 inches. It has to stay within 6 inches of it. It come with any formation, and it's shaken for movement purposes. So that's a big deal. So I will say I'd seen this change maybe a week ago before it was released, but that's before they made the update to special ambush to be shaken, because you weren't shaken with special ambush for a little bit. They just did it like last week, and I don't know if I caused this or if it was just an oversight, but I informed some people that if you do not do this, given the ordering of these things, you could have technically teleported wretched ones and then random move them instantly, and charged, which was obviously not intended. I was hoping that if they were going to fix that, they would have just made it so you can't move wretched ones afterwards or whatever how they want to do it. But now that nothing can move when it comes out of the portal, I am much less excited about the portals. Though, actually, if you think about it, the fact that you can teleport wretched ones and like just put it in the middle of somebody's army anyway, and just be like, fuck it, here it is. And yeah, you can't move the turn you come in, but you've already moved the unit like across the board, and now it's in like super annoying position. That's actually one that might actually be very good, moving wretched ones, even with the change. Okay, so point on the board. It can be blocked super easily by enemy. You just have to stand on it. Man, this one's hard to talk about because it changed so much, and there's so much you can like do and you can't do with it. So I guess you gotta kind of forget about what the old one did. You gotta kind of remember it, so you kind of know what changed, but you kind of have to like think of it as a new thing. So, some good things. You can put the markers within 26 inches of people. You couldn't before. I think the pick up and place down, where you can like pick one up and destroy another one, is really good, because if you had 2 Hellmalls before, or even if you had a Hellmall with 2 portals, what could happen is by turn 4, you have 4 portals down and maybe one's in a bad position, and you have to spend a turn removing it and then adding one the next turn, and all of a sudden the game's over. I think, and so this one kind of gets around that. One thing to consider too is, yes, it's easy to step on portals. It's so much easier to block. You just need one little model to stand next to it. One thing to remember is, before, you had to have 1 or 2 portals in your deployment zone or near your army to kind of teleport your units from. Especially your first portal. You had to put 1 in your lines and then 1 out. So 2 things. 1, you have a lot more ability within your lines to teleport things because it's within 6 inches of a Hellmaw. So, before, an infantry unit had to be within like 4 inches of a portal to get on that portal to teleport out. And what you went in the portal as formation wise is what you came out as, I'm sure. And now, so like if you had to like conga line to get to a portal, I think that's true, right? I think that's true. I forget. Point being is, I'm pretty sure you can change your formation when you go in, so you don't have to like do something weird before you go in. You can be like a normal formation and then conga within your 6 inches and whatnot. And I might need to make another video on on this, on Helmall specifically, with like UB and stuff up. But all right, so now you have more space within your line because the Helmall is a 4-inch base and by 6 and 6 inch from that. It's a really big area. So like, you don't need 3 units huddled on top of one portal and maybe one goes out. Now it's like, okay, I can pick a lot of options. 2, because you're teleporting from the Helmall, now you can't come back through the portal, right? Because there's nothing to come back through unless your other Helmall is near it. But it does mean now that your 4 portals that you have, let's just assume you have 2 Helmalls or something, right? Your 4 portals are much more aggressively placed because they're all what's the word I'm looking for? They're all being used aggressively. You don't need one in your battle lines to teleport people out, or even 2 of them. Because sometimes it was like 2 and 2, like 2 in your battle lines, 2 up by the enemy. Now all 4 can be like in your enemy like space, and or even within your own lines if you really want to teleport like across the board. And the enemy has to respect it. Like you can't. Sometimes you just can't cover all of them, right? And maybe I'm getting a little more excited about Helmalls, just slightly. I don't know if I like them or not still, but you know, they have to commit something to stop them. You can put them in a place that if they step on it, you can charge them, right? Like they can be both aggressive and not. But if a Helmall moves up 12 inches and turn 2 drops a portal, you're on the 12-inch line, you move up 12 and you get 24. You have 4, you can hit the back edge of the board. If turn 2, you put a portal on the back edge of the board, and now they have to respect it. They might not have a unit that can get to it, right? They might not want to commit their fast cab because your whole army's pushing on them. And the thing is, and this is maybe that starts to get scary, it's not it like before it was like, oh, I can only teleport warriors and shit, and like dogs will get obliterated if they go through. There's none of that anymore. Everything can go through except big shit. You can put 6 spawn that show up on your flank and you're like, oh fuck me. Like they're right there. Or, if you know you're going first, this is if you know you're going first and you're gonna drop for first and they don't have any vanguards or scouts, you can put a portal right in front of their army, right on their edge, right? And first turn you could teleport dogs in a line, like within reason, right in front of their army. They won't get hurt. They're just fucking there. 20 inches. Now the dogs have the march rule. They can go 22. But they can just fucking appear in the middle. Or just barbarians or a giant warrior block. I mean, you could do that before with double portals. But that was actually very expensive. Wasn't that like 480 to do that? It was super expensive, wasn't it? It was like 200 points, like 460 to do that before. Maybe 480. Now it's 300. You could still, like turn 1, you could do it. You always have that threat. Just for nothing. For nothing else, turn 1, you could put a marker in front of them and say, if you don't have any scouts, I can teleport a unit right in front of you. I think with 2, you get a lot more fancy things you can do. Like you can put them on the flanks. And I do think the pick up and place down is big because, right, like I said before, if somebody stood on your portal before and you had 4 up, you had to destroy it and then put it down the next turn. Now you can just remove it, put it somewhere else. You can't teleport to that turn. But now the enemy has to respect where you moved it to. Like if they're not all single models or fast cap, they can't just get to it and stop it, right? And if you get them deep in their lines, there's only so much you can do. Now, the stupid fucking special ambush rules say that if you come in after turn 4, or the ambush rules, you lose scoring for the rest of the game. So it makes it a little worse at like breakthrough. You can't Helmall before you could come in turn 5 and then you gain your scoring in turn 6 and then you're good to go. Now losing it for the rest of the game after turn 4 kind of sucks. Before it was so now like you could teleport turn 4 and 5 and still be scoring by the end of the game. 6 you were screwed. Now 4 and 5 so 2 turns you're kind of screwed with scoring. Whereas before it was turn 6 only screwed you. Now it's turn 4, 5, and 6. So 2 turns you get screwed by the scoring. But you can teleport a lot of things that don't score, right? Like there's a lot of things in the game that don't score that you can teleport that you couldn't before, like spawn. If they remove the wretched one, I think the wretched one might actually be the most obnoxious one. Like they went up in points, like the unit went up in points. But damn, being able to teleport, like some armies just can't deal with that. And the thing is, what you can do is right. Because let's say you start to go first. Let's say you have 2 Helmalls, and you start the game, and you say, all right, I'm gonna put, even if they have You just like, I'm gonna put one portal like halfway, 2/3 on the left, or like kind of in, I don't have UB up. I'll make a Helmall video, but you put one here, you put one here, and then you put your army in the middle, and your spawn are like here, and then depending on how they deploy, they have to respect like either the spawn are going to go straight up the front, or you're going to teleport them to either side, and then it's like, where do you put your army? Like they'll just put them in the place that it's worst for you. So maybe I'm liking Helmholtz a little bit more now. I think if you could still move, they'd be totally broken. I mean, obviously, even if they could still move and like the shaken thing was gone, I think it would still be, even if they stopped the random movers, it would still be super strong because you could like teleport a flying model and then march over, not march, but normal move over somebody's unit or out of the line of sight. Like it'd be so hard to stop the portals. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. 300 points. It's still a monster. It's 5 strength 5 attacks. I wish it was a little bit fightier. I wish it had D3 stomps. I wish it maybe was slightly fightier for what it is, but it's 6 HP, 6 res. It has a rank. It's fearless. It's supernal, so it's with the extra wound really helps on the supernal side. So if you lose combat by 1 or 2, you're staying. You can be steadfast for light things like a dragon. You have an Aegis. You have armor. It's you don't have to pay 480 points. The game isn't over. I mean, if you lose the helm, all the portals don't matter anymore. But at least they don't all blow up in your middle of your lines. The blowing apart, like it's kind of annoying that's gone, but it was never like a thing you could do that reliably. You were never like bombing people with portals and stuff like that. But now you can put them like right next to units. Like the where you can put them is a lot more annoying, and you're still forcing your enemy to stop you. I think that's the big thing. Okay, so here's the benefits of why maybe portaling is better. You're forcing your enemy to stop you, right? You can put portals closer to them, and you can what is the thing? You have more portals to put up there. And you have more space in your own deployment zone of who you can pick because you don't have to be standing on the portal to start with. So this is probably the biggest downfall of why the start of move sucks. Just take a case of I teleport a unit, right? It's shaken. I can't move it. So that means it has to be touching the portal. It has to be on it. I can't teleport, like you're cock blocked for 2 turns unless you charge. So if the unit that's on the portal charges, you can now portal something behind it because it goes charge, portal, movement, right? So if you're just in open space and you teleport a unit and you're not going to charge it, you can't move it off the portal in time to teleport another unit on the same portal. Does that make sense? So you cock block yourself if you don't charge. So that's kind of sucks. I think that sucks. I think that fact is probably what's a little annoying. I know why. I get it. Like they don't want you to be able to move the Helmall 12 inches to teleport something, right? They don't want you to move 12, then teleport, blah blah blah, or have a unit move towards the Helmall. But that does kind of suck. So actually, one thing I just realized is because of the ordering of this, you can't teleport a unit that failed charge, right? But you can teleport with a Helmall that failed charge, right? There's nothing here to say if the Helmall was shaken, you can't do it, right? So, in all technicality, I'll put it this way. Let's say a unit was like 6.5 inches in front of the Helmall, or somewhere where it wasn't close enough to get teleported. The enemy's like, oh, you can't teleport it, suck it. You could declare a charge that was like 18 inches, fail it, go in the range of that unit, then teleport it. So that's probably the one little tricky thing you can do that's kind of dumb, but I'll take what we can get. All right. Oh, I got to make a Helmall video now. So look out for that. I'll probably have one with UB soon. All right. That's Warriors. Actually kind of exciting. I got more excited about the Helmall just talking about it. But let's look at Orcs real quick. I'm not going to go in depth like I did here. We're just going to go through real quick. All right. Let's see what changed in Orcs. I should go to the end. Change log. Is this it? Oh my god. What? This is not it, right? No. Wait, excuse me? Did orcs change? Wait, is it the right book? What is this? What date is this? Is this the right date? Wait, hold on. Okay, this is just wording shit. All right, there's got to be something here cool, right? Okay, Wizard Apprentice. No one gives a fuck. Excuse me? What the fuck? Well, this will be a quick review on fucking orcs. Did they not change anything? Who the fuck did this book? I thought they changed stuff. What the fuck? Am I missing something, guys? Maybe it's because it's the next book? Oh, this sucks. What a shitty way to end the video. Fuck you guys. Not you guys. The people who did the book. Alright, fucking Warriors. Helm all video. Look out for it. Thanks, everyone.